Hey everyone, this is Caly Person. I'm back with another interactive card, this time using the Ferris wheel die from the Simon Says Stamp September 2025 card kit. This card kit is filled with amazing dies, and if you haven't seen the inspiration, be sure to check out the Simon Says Stamp website. I have used every product in this card kit, and so stay tuned until the very end if you want to see all three projects using everything from this kit. This particular card uses the Ferris wheel dies, and we're going to make it interactive by using a bunch of little brads. So I am looking at this die and I'm like, every card is going to use this fun and adorable Ferris wheel, but I want to make it different and I want to make it truly interactive. Not just with the spinning wheel, but with all the little carts as well. So I've die cut everything off camera, and I decided to use a basic round die to make another circle for the center of the wheel there, and that's where that white piece comes into play. And I've used some rainbow holographic cardstock for my heart, and now I'm going to back all my little colorful cars up with some white cars. I'm just going to call them cars. So I am adding another layer for protection and to make it a little bit more sturdy in the back. And as I'm gluing these together, I'm also intentionally putting the wrong sides of the die cuts together. That way I have a smooth front and back with the purple and the white here. And I've already done that off camera with all of the greens and pink cars just to save some time. But as you can see, it just makes everything smoother and sturdier. And I love that there are 3 holes at the top of those cars because it makes the interactive element of this card come together so much easier. Now, in order to make all of those brads go in easily, I need to poke holes inside the center of this Ferris wheel as well as on the base and at the edges of all of the wheel spindles, if you want to call it that. So now I'm just making sure that I have it centered just right on the wheel by using a ruler, and then I'm just going to eyeball it on the base. Now I know that I'm going to need plenty of space for the movement of that wheel, so I've created some spacers here using the smallest die from my circles die set. And I've die cut 4 and glued 2 together, same as with the cars, gluing the back sides together so that it's smooth on the front and back of these pieces that I've glued together. If you have a 1/16 hole punch, you can use that to make things a little bit easier. I didn't necessarily find that it was easier. As you can see here, I struggle a little bit with the pieces being stuck in this tiny hole punch. And so what I've decided to use was pull out my little foam mat from my stamp platform or the Misty, and I'm just going to use my place and pierce tool and just pierce a hole through the pieces where I need the holes to be. So I'm doing that here with the Ferris wheel's base, and then I'll do that with the Ferris wheel too. You can make it bigger by holding it up and piercing it through so that you get a bigger hole in this piece, which is what I want. I want it to spin freely for this particular piece, but for the outer edges where the cars are going to sit, I want those brads to sit there snugly. So you'll see here in a little bit when I go to put it together that I am going to do some very delicate assembling. And bear with me, I am making all of this up as I go. I didn't really plan this or figure it out beforehand. So you're going to see that I'm going to take this apart more than once because I decided to use these first as little washers, these little white circle pieces. They're more spacers than they are washers, but they do help with the spinning element and it does make things smoother. So anyway, before I add on that heart piece, I'm going to add some 3D foam strips that are going to go around that brad top, and that will make the brad safe and contained, and we can hide it with this heart feature on the top. So now I am going to use my piercing tool again and just pierce at the end of all of those spindles all the way around the wheel. At which point I felt like, okay, I should have backed up the wheel with another piece as well because that would have made it sturdier. So I've gone off camera and die cut another wheel, and I'm going to double this up and make it a little stronger. Then I'll go back in with my piercing tool and re-pierce all those holes. Again, I don't want these holes to be too big. I just want them to be I want the brads to fit snugly inside so that I can keep the brad ends where I want them on the back side so that you don't see them through the wheel. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, so I've tested my wheel and made sure that it's spun okay. And then I'm using the smaller brads to go all the way around the wheel with these cars. And while the brad is snug in the pierced hole, I still want the cars to swing freely. So I don't want the brad to sit snugly against the papers. I want it to fit snugly in the hole only. The cars already have holes, so that's going to spin freely, I know, but I want to make sure that there's some space between the car and the wheel in order for it to spin freely. I hope that makes sense. So when I'm bending the brads in the back, I'm making sure to leave a tiny bit of space so that that car has some movement to it. So after the first few fussing around with spacing, I got the hang of it and the rest of it went really smoothly. And when I got halfway through this was when I realized, okay, maybe the wheel needs a little bit more space from that base because I don't want any of the brad ends in the back to catch the base of the wheel. So I removed that washer or that spacer that I have on the back side and just moved it towards the inside closer to the wheel. That way it creates more space between the wheel itself and the Ferris wheel base. So I put that back together and then now I'm going to finish putting the rest of the cars on there. And because I've spent all this time playing and fussing with this, I've worked out all of the kinks. So if you decide to put one together yourself, you'll have an easier go at it than I did. With the Ferris wheel put together and everything spinning perfectly as I want it, I'm going to go ahead and work on the rest of the elements for this card. This card kit also comes with the birthday sentiments embossing folder. So I've embossed that in white and I've cut around the edges to make a frame or a border. And I'm going to use some patterned paper from this Simple Stories Fun Times paper pad. And I'm going to use this balloon patterned paper here because it's great for a birthday. And I'm going to glue all those layers together once I get my sentiment stamped. So using the Birthday Blitz stamp set, I'm going to emboss a sentiment over some slate cardstock, which is the same color as the color of the wheel. Just incorporating the same color so that everything flows cohesively. And I'm going to emboss this in white. After heat setting my sentiment, I'm going to use the coordinating die to die cut that. I will say that the coordinating die is not a part of this card kit, so if you want that coordinating die set, be sure to add that to your order. Okay, so I am just finishing up assembling my card here by adhering the patterned paper to a card base, then adding the embossed sentiment layer, and now I'm adding my Ferris wheel with some 3D foam strips, which is also part of the card kit, to the back of the base and applying that to my card. And then I'll also use some 3D foam strips to adhere my sentiment strip as well. So there you have it, a fun interactive Ferris wheel card with all of the cards interacting as well. They are spinning freely with the turns of the wheel. So I love how it turned out, and here I want to show you the other two cards that I made using the other dies from this card kit. I used that duck die, the rubber duck, and some party balloon dies at the top. And then I also made an interactive popcorn card. So that's more uses of the patterned paper, as well as the embossing folder and stamp set on this one. So super fun dies. This card kit is so great and I love it so much. It's so much fun. I hope you enjoyed this card. If you're interested in anything that I use, be sure to check out the links below. Everything will be linked in the descriptions as well as on the coordinating blog posts. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day, everyone. Bye.